Hello, and welcome back to the Sustainability Sessions. I'm Adam Bell, Delivery Director at sustainability-focused marketing agency Moment. We're talking to business leaders and sustainability experts about the most pressing problems facing our people and the planet. One of those problems that rises time and time again is waste. And I'm delighted, therefore, today to be talking to someone who's tackling this head-on. I'm with Caroline Villamizar Duque, the founder of This is Circular in the Netherlands.
Hey, really well, thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today. So I'd love to start, if it's okay, just with a little bit of background to you and what led you up to doing what you're doing now.
Sure, yeah. So I am a Brit, currently living in Amsterdam. I actually spent most of my career in the events industry, sorry.
Okay.
So I spent most of my career in the events industry. So involved in a lot of travel, seeing an awful lot of the world. But in 2019, I kind of realized that I really wanted to do something very clearly purposeful. So I sold out of the company that I was in, moved to Amsterdam, and decided that I just wanted to have a really clear focus on plastic waste. It's a growing problem. We're just sort of becoming aware of the mess we've been making by using plastic in the way that we've been using it. And I'm quite a sort of practical solutions-based person. So I just wanted to go straight into having a go at using reusables as an alternative to single-use plastic. And that's what we've been doing here with Circular.
Love it. I love it. And if you don't mind, just for those who maybe aren't aware, I'd love to learn a little bit more about exactly what it is you're doing with Circular.
Absolutely. So it is a refill and reuse system for home and beauty products. So all the things that you need to have in your house all the time: shampoo, body wash, hand sanitizer, cleaning products. All of those things that always come in single-use plastic. So even if you're buying nice, naturally made, great products, usually you have no choice but a PET plastic bottle. So what we do is we partner with the brands who make those, and we bottle them into reusable either aluminium or glass bottles. And then we offer a full circular service. So we have a web portal. This is circular.nl. You could order all of your products. We deliver them by bike courier, and then when you're finished, we pick up the empties and replace them with full ones and take the bottles away to be cleaned, refilled, reused. So it means that the packaging basically never leaves the circle and isn't single use.
Fantastic. And I think it's amazing. Since we started speaking, you go around your house, you look around your bathroom, and you just see so many things. So I think that's something that's really visible to people, and it's amazing that you're taking on that challenge. I think one thing we found, the deeper we go into the multifaceted topic that is sustainability, is just how many angles there are to it. So I'd love to know sort of really what sustainability means to you, and then within the context of Circular.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're so right. There's so many different things that we're kind of becoming aware of now that sustainability is going mainstream, at last, which is great. But for me, one of the key things about sustainability is just trying to live with less waste. So not wasting petrol by unnecessarily traveling, not wasting car journeys, not wasting meat by eating less of it. And then, trying to avoid things like food waste. And then obviously there's all this crazy waste of things like plastic and glass and cardboard. All of our whole system is just set up in this kind of take things, make them, use them, throw them away, hope that recycling will solve some of the problem. And so I think for a lot of people, sustainability is just about trying to kind of reduce down like how much the impact is that they're having for people's personal lives, but then also for their companies or corporations as well now. It's definitely becoming more of a thing that you can't just not have any kind of policy around how you're going to answer questions about the impact that you're having.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And was there any particular moment or one thing that made you decide to focus on the area that you have at the moment?
I think it's actually been kind of cumulative over time of just everywhere I travelled, seeing the kind of enormity of the plastic waste problem. Whether you're in Asia or South America or Africa or wherever you are, there's just visible plastic litter everywhere. And so I found myself walking around with bin bags everywhere. I couldn't go to the beach anymore. And so that was when I just decided I wanted to come up with something that kind of got around in front of the problem. There's a load of brilliant people working on cleaning up the mess that we've made in the first place, and we know now it's breaking down into microplastics, it's going into the food system. But yes, you just need to kind of pick an area. And for me, I just decided that prevention, and especially in refill and reuse, which is a relatively new logistical system that people are testing out, just to see whether we could make that work.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And how have you found starting and growing this business in the Netherlands in particular, as opposed to maybe the UK or any of those other markets that you've mentioned? Are there any differences?
Yeah, I'm sure there are. I think there's pros and cons, actually. Like in the Netherlands, there's a really good startup ecosystem, which is really solid, but UK has a pretty good one too. There's definitely a lot of sustainability focus here. Amsterdam is planning to be an entirely circular city by 2025, the whole of the Netherlands by 2050. But then also we in some ways have found it quite difficult to sort of access funding and things like that, because there's a lot of funds aimed very specifically at tech solutions rather than practical solutions. So that's been interesting. But generally what we figured as we've gone on is that there just isn't an infrastructure for doing most of what we're doing. And so it means that we are needing to figure out quite a few of the problems as we go, like come up with our own solutions while we grow until larger providers get on board. So things like reverse logistics, delivery, washing systems for the kind of products that we do. All of those things are just not really there yet. But I think that's a problem everywhere,
Yeah.
and those things are all getting solved one by one. And partly that's what makes it really fun and interesting, but then also, I guess, slows progress a bit while you figure all of those problems out.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's almost there's so many layers the more you explore things. So even within this particular solution and talking about plastic waste, as you've mentioned there, sort of there's each stage of your process, from the cleaning to the distribution, will have its own unique challenges. How do you structure that within the business? What are the key areas of focus for circular?
Yeah, I mean, we're sort of largely trying to solve the problems with collaboration, because we think there's just no point sitting on our own trying to solve things. But yeah, I mean, firstly, that what we've done largely is just taken problems and chewed them off one by one. So the first thing is finding good quality reusable bottles. We're now working, there's a brilliant British brand called Beauty Kitchen who make lovely, sustainable, natural products. And they've been working in reusable packaging for quite a while. They've been a great partner to us, both in terms of product, but also they have a brilliant initiative called Return, Refill, Repeat. So they are working with a whole load of different brands about helping get them into reusables. So they've been super helpful in terms of knowledge and sourcing bottles. They have technology systems that they're sharing. So that's been really good. Getting brand partners on board is another thing. We want to only be stocking natural, nicely made vegan brands that are made in the UK or Europe. But actually it's been really interesting. Most of the brands that fit the criteria and are able to deliver in bulk have been interested in getting on board. So that's good. Delivery is, the next thing. Right now we have bikes and riders and we're doing the delivery and pick up ourselves, because none of the 20 different delivery companies currently available in Amsterdam can do simultaneous pickup and drop off. And now we have one provider who can do it nationally, but at a certain scale, which we're not at yet. So on we pedal. Yeah. And then getting the washing facility set up as well. There just isn't anything currently existing here for washing the bottles and products that we have. So we've been working with some brilliant cleaning product companies to come up with what's the ideal washing system, what are the ideal products to be using to make sure that everything, is super hygienically clean, ready to be refilled.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's something really, really interesting within that. And one of the things that we're talking a lot about, talking to different companies about, is that the aspects of sustainability that pertain to the planet and obviously the primary solution, but the impact that considering people within that actually has. So in terms of those partnerships that you mentioned, and I suppose actually in terms of the community itself, where you're delivering this solution, how big of a role have they played?
Yeah, it's been really helpful actually. I mean, we've been piloting for 9 months or so. So we've got a really nice, super engaged group of customers who tend to be the sort of more forefront of sustainability people. And they've been really brilliant and super engaged about giving us loads of feedback, doing all the surveys and interviews and everything, just to help us get everything really correct and correctly focused. So that sort of initial community of shoppers that we've had have been great. And also, I mean, that there are packaging communities, sustainability communities, reuse communities, all of which have been great in terms of sharing knowledge and information. It's hard, obviously, that none of us can actually get together in real, actual life the last year and a half. So it's a lot of time on Zoom, but it is really nice, and there are certain organizations like the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, for example, who are doing so much brilliant work on coming at waste and plastic waste and waste of resources in a whole number of ways, and are doing a great job of connecting communities.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And I suppose the last big question from me is for companies who are perhaps earlier on in their sustainability journey, is there one piece of advice that you might give to them, or where might you tell them where to start?
I guess, yes. The first thing I would say is just reach out, collaborate, talk to as many people as you can. Perhaps if you have an idea, get yourself onto a program with somebody like Impact Hub, who are, fully international and set up and entirely dedicated to supporting sustainability businesses. And so they have various different programs you can do, and also a nice network of people that you can meet, because sharing is great. When you're starting a new company, there's brilliant days, but there will always be dark days. And you need people to talk to, who are going through similar things. But I guess my main bit of advice would be just start doing things. Like, if you look at everything that you need to do, you probably just freeze and never get started. If you look at where you want to be in 2 years or 5 years. So the thing to do is, what are the first steps I can take? What can I achieve this month, that can make, a real difference? Don't worry about step 7. Just go at step 1 and get that done, and then see where you are, because things will change. as you go, you'll learn new things. You'll discover that something that you thought would be a great idea doesn't work at all. And so you've got to be pretty flexible and just ready to, figure out how you can make things work.
Yeah, absolutely. Pick a starting point and get started. I think that's a great piece of advice. And just because I'm glad you mentioned them there. Have you engaged much with the impact hubs yourself? I recently became aware that we actually have one in Scotland, believe it or not. So was really interested to learn more about that network.
Yes, I actually did. When I very first had the idea, which I thought it was like March 2020, right before the pandemic hit. I spoke to somebody and they advised that I talk to Impact Hub, and I took part. They had a business model challenge starting right then around food and packaging. So I joined that, and yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it was right at the beginning of the pandemic. And so it was everybody's kind of first experience of doing everything on Zoom rather than in real life. But yes, they've been helpful. They had some nice mentors. They've introduced me to some useful people. I think when life is normal, they have good events where people can reach out and interact with each other. But I think it's a really good starting point, if you've got an idea that's focused around sustainability in some kind of a way, that they can just help show you, where to begin and give you some direction.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's wonderful. Thank you. And so, very last piece, what's next for you? What's next for Circular?
So we have been applying for some funding, and so there are two pieces of funding that seem to be available for sustainable innovation and for circular economy that both fit us. So hopefully we will secure those funds in the next few weeks, and then we'll be doing a marketing campaign and really growing the business, getting ourselves set up properly in our laboratory, and getting our washing facility set up. So yes, it is exciting times.
Oh, that does sound really, really exciting. Well, congratulations on everything you've achieved so far, and really good luck with the next steps as well. A big thanks for joining us again today, and thanks for sharing your insights.
Thank you so much for having me.
A big thanks again to Caroline, and I think some really clear lessons to pick a problem that you're passionate about solving and get to work today. I hope you've been inspired to take action in your business. And if you have, please do like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. If you'd like to stay in touch with more sustainability sessions as they become available, please do also subscribe to this channel. Thank you.